Before I take questions, I do want to make comments about one other issue, which is the Robodebt debacle. Yesterday, in the courts, the government settled. Just before it was about to go to hearing, they settled for $1.2 billion for the class action that was taken by people who were the victims of this illegal scheme. We know that this scheme was illegal, and we know that the government was advised that it was illegal and kept it going. And we know also that the government's rhetoric saying that this is something that was long-term isn't the case. This scheme was begun under Scott Morrison as Treasurer. He was very proud of the announcement. And the problem is they took human beings out of human services. So there was no oversight at all, just these debts being given to people with, frankly, some catastrophic human consequences as a direct result. So whilst it's a good decision that this has been settled and people will receive some compensation for what they've been through, at the same time the government isn't conceding any liability. Well, if they're not liable, why did they just hand over $1.2 billion of taxpayers' money? This is a disgrace. Labor will continue to pursue our call for a royal commission into this scandal, because under this government, even a $1.2 billion mistake that's had tragic consequences for vulnerable people doesn't result in anyone putting their hand up and being forced to resign or any penalty whatsoever, be it Stuart Robert, be it Alan Tudge, Scott Morrison. Once again, no one's responsible for this debacle, and it's about time that the government fessed up as to how this occurred, and that it did more than just pay money out, taxpayers' money that is used like confetti. It's about time they apologised and accepted that they are responsible for this debacle. Happy to take questions. Sorry.
In light of Joel Fitzgibbon quitting the front bench, there's been recent polls that show a lot of voters are concerned about Labor's climate change policy, and that it will have a negative impact on their lives. So, what are you going to do to get the regional seats, I guess, retain them, but also pick up those seats?
Well, I'm very confident that we'll do well in the regions. And Joel Fitzgibbon himself has said that he intended to serve 18 months on the front bench, and that he told me and others many, many months ago, we've been discussing a date for his departure. So there was nothing new about Joel's decision, which he made some time ago, which wasn't a decision about policy. It was a decision that he made himself.
Does that include him standing down and not contesting the next election? That alone?
No, well, that's a matter for him, whether...
No, you know what you were told at the time.
No,
How did you understand?
no, that's a matter for him, of whether he has said that he will contest the next election. I welcome Joel staying in Parliament for as long as he wants to. He's part of the class of 96. We're down to two, me and him. So it's a quality pairing, but it's not big in number. That's a matter for Joel to make those decisions.
On Robodebt, should Stuart Robert be sacked, and is that enough for 112 now?
Stuart Robert has been sacked before, should never have been brought back. That's the problem. This bloke is a rolling mistake, mistake after mistake. Everything he touches turns to rubbish. And the fact is that Stuart Robert, during this scandal, has pretended that it's got nothing to do with him, but he's been defending this scheme that we know is illegal, and the government has now handed over $1.2 billion of taxpayers' money as a direct result. I mean, this is the bloke who said there was a cyber attack on the government's computer system that we know wasn't true either. This is a guy who you have to check everything that he says for whether it's real or not. But under this government, You can produce documents that aren't real about council mayors. You can seemingly get away with anything at all. Let me just say this. If John Howard was the Prime Minister today, Stuart Robert would not have a job.